But on the hotline today, you heard about this country, Nepal. And it's not that Nepal really concerns you, it's just the fact that the country Nepal, the Gen Zs in Nepal, they actually tore that country down. They said they were tired of being cheated, lied to, and they just want things to be changed. They're tired of the rich getting rich and the poor getting poor. So they really, really, really went out there.
Will we change the fate of this nation, or will we let it remain in shackles? King Birendra once said, "Even if I die, shall my country live on?" All the youths, carry these words in your heart and engrave a monument of change in the course of history. Nepal is ours, and its future is in our hands. Jai Yuva! Jai Nepal!
Don't just watch, act, learn the history, share the truth, stand for justice, and be part of the change.
Hey! Yeah, it's Janetta. Ooh, Chihuahua, what I have found out. Let me tell you something. And it was probably about a little bit about, oh my gosh, let me calm down. Let me kind of catch my breath because I'm getting out of breath. But on the hotline today, you heard about this country, Nepal. And it's not that Nepal really concerns you, it's just the fact that the country Nepal, the Gen Zs in Nepal, they actually tore that country down. They said they were tired of being cheated, lied to, and they just want things to be changed. They're tired of the rich getting rich and the poor getting poor. So they really, really, really went out there. But what really made them upset, that's what it said anyway from the news, is they said they were going to take the internet away from them. And those young people had at it. They really, 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 they went out there. Excuse me. And it was told, their government told the police or the military to shoot them. They got 72 people died. But that did not deter them young people. They went back out there again. But it's not about Nepal. Nepal is a country that is called a developing country. That means it's poor country. That's what developing means. And I was making a comparison with Nepal and some countries in Africa. Now, mind you, I heard that Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso, everybody's love, ooh, yeah. Well, he sent out a notice, now that might not be the truth, to these different countries and asked them not to make him boss or anything, but to join in to fight what has been going on in Africa, the theft of their property, of your gold, your uranium, your oil, your this, that. Honey, those countries wrote back, not all of them. I think Ghana took him up, Zimbabwe took him up, Botswana said okay, Namibia said okay, and of course Mali and Burkina Faso and himself in Niger and Angola. I was surprised by Angola. And let me see, Rwanda said okay, we can work together. We can work together. I love Paul Kagame. Yeah, they said we can work together. But let me tell you something. I looked up about 10 countries in Africa that have gold, diamonds, uranium, platinum, silver, copper. Woo, they have everything. And those countries' GDP is smaller than the GDP of Nepal, and Nepal has nothing but water and Mount Everest and some tourism. They have they don't have any, they're not trading minerals. But these countries in Africa, they have been exporting minerals, but they haven't been getting any money. And their GDP is lower than that of Nepal's, and the people in the country make less money than the people in Nepal. Now, that doesn't sound, man, now, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, this is what happened. Say that you're a millionaire, and your millions are in the bank. And you're a millionaire, your millions in the bank, you have it, but you can't get it. For one thing, you can't get it. The bank tells you can't get hold of that money. And you say, why? And they say, well, you don't have the necessary paperwork you need to be able to get that money. And besides, we need that money. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do you a favor. We'll give you a little bit of the money, but we'll take the rest. We'll keep it. We'll watch over it for you. We'll take care of it. And we'll let you have a little something so you won't starve to death, right? But you're rich. But you're living like you're poor. Well, that's the way it is here in Africa. You, African man, woman, you are rich. You are rich. And what makes me upset is Ibrahim is trying to tell everybody that. But you got some of your puppet leaders that say to him, well, we don't want to hear it. We like the way things are going. In fact, why don't you go back to not being able to have schools? Why don't you go back to not having cars and roads? Why don't you go back to having unemployment and no hope for your people? Why don't you go back to that, Ibrahim? Because you had Burkina Faso had the position of being number 2 of the poorest country in the world. You know what I'm talking about? Why would you leave that position and do what you're doing? Why don't you go back? I mean, because when you were broke, when Burkina Faso was broke, they were living under democracy. You got to be a democracy. And we're a democracy. We are democracy. We are obedient to the powers that be. Because we're getting something from them. They're taking our gold oil, we're taking our uranium, they're taking our diamonds, they're taking everything we got, and they're giving us something. Why, Ibrahim, why are you gonna mess up things? Why are you gonna tip the card over? Come on back to ECOWAS. Come on back with us. You guys just forget all that stuff. Call France back. Tell them you're sorry. So y'all can live like you were living before. Because France is doing bad. Without that money from that Sahel area, without that money from Burkina Faso and from Niger and from Mali, France is doing bad. They're going broke. They need your money.
Imagine this. 200,000 angry French citizens flooding the streets, blocking highways, torching buses, chanting for Macron's resignation. Why? Because their government just announced a brutal $50 billion budget cut. But here's the twist the French media won't tell you. The deeper cause of this crisis doesn't lie in Paris. It lies in Africa. More specifically, in the Sahel. France is collapsing because it lost its grip on Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso.
For decades, France built its wealth on the backs of its former colonies. But now, leaders like Ibrahim Traoré, Assimi Goïta, and Mamadi Doumbouya are rewriting history. The era of colonial taxes is ending. The CFA franc is on its way out, and France is feeling the heat. So what happens when the golden pipeline dries up? What happens when Africa says no more? Let's break it down. Most people have no idea just how much France relies on its former colonies. But let's put it in perspective. 14 African nations still use the CFA franc, a currency controlled by France. These countries have been forced to keep 50% of their reserves in France's central bank. France gets first access to their resources, their trade, their wealth, all while African nations struggle. This is why France has remained one of the world's top economies. Not because of innovation, not because of sheer economic power, but because of Africa. And now that foundation is crumbling. A new wave of African leaders is saying enough is enough. Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso, cutting ties with France, taking back control of resources. Assimi Goïta in Mali, ditching French military presence, reclaiming sovereignty. Mamadi Doumbouya in Guinea, nationalizing industries, ending dependency. This isn't just a political shift, it's an economic earthquake. The CFA franc on its last breath, military presence being kicked out, trade deals under African control. France's grip on Africa is slipping, and without Africa's wealth, France's economy is heading for disaster.
Ooh, you cut him off, sugar. Oh, Ibrahim, you just so naughty. You shouldn't have did that. Now, your brothers, you know, your other brothers, you call them your brothers, right? Your other brothers, your other people, continent men, not countrymen, but men of the continent or leaders decided, they said, now, we don't want to join in. We see what he's doing is right, might be right, but it's not really right for the powers that be. They don't like it. We want to be a developing country. See, now, if you enrich Burkina Faso, Ibrahim, like you're doing it, you will fall out of line. You won't any longer be in a developing country. No, and you'll lose your position as being one of the poorest countries in the world. Why would you do that? Now, that might sound kind of stupid, but that's what's going on. So I'm going to sign off right here. Just thought I'd leave you a little tidbit. They decided they don't want to, they don't want to go along with him. They don't want to follow his lead. They don't want to do what they're doing, the people are doing in the Sahel. They don't want, even though they see it's prosperous, it's winning, it's changing, the people in the country are happy, it's changing the character, but they do not want it. They don't want it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Nigeria is one of the richest countries in the world, but poor. Y'all poor, but y'all like that position. You just poor. Nepal has nothing to fight for. They fighting. I mean, you know, it just makes me believe that we like being impoverished, so we can get some aid from somebody so they can, you know. It's amazing to me. Don't wake me up. Okay, talk to you later. I just thought I'd leave you that little tidbit. Okay. Signing off. This is Janetta. If you don't like it, you don't believe it, hey, let's discuss it. All right. Talk to you later.
The solution is not to move Africans to Europe, but to free Africa from certain Europeans. France continues to exploit Africa by printing currency for 14 African nations, making children work in mines, extracting raw materials, as happens in Niger, where France extracts 30% of the uranium it needs to run its nuclear power plants, while 90% of Nigerians live without electricity. Don't come here to lecture us, Macron, because Africa is fleeing from you.
Hey, this is Janetta, and you're watching Africa Speak.